Hello everyone, my name is Sophie and welcome to my new video. Today we will be talking about Iron Widow or Iron Widow. How do you say it? I don't know, I don't speak English that well. This book was complete ass, but it was so funny. It was so funny. If you want a good laugh and if you're not critical, you should read it. Honestly, like if I had read this book when I was 14 and I was non-critically reading, I would probably give it like 4 stars. Like respectfully. Myself now, 1 star. You have to watch, okay? You have to watch. Like, I'm not trying to get under anyone's skin, but honestly, if this is... No, I don't want to say that. I always want to say if this is your favorite book or you really like this book. Like, I can't believe that people actually like this book. But I did read the 5-star reviews on Goodreads. There are people who are like, this is the best book I've ever read. And it made me think, because I read one review, and it made me think, like, did you get an arc? Like, were you paid for that opinion? Because it was, like, written in a way where I was like, okay, like... No one talks like that. Now, disclaimer, this video is meant for entertainment purposes only. I'm not trying to attack the author personally. I'm not trying to attack you personally. If you like this book, I'm happy for you. Everyone deserves to enjoy reading and enjoy different books. But I've thought that this book was bad, and so I'm also allowed to state my opinion. And I'm sharing it for everyone who maybe wants to hear a different opinion or kind of like see why this book was a little silly. I'm aware that the author was popular before they published the book. And that they, like, maybe did videos. Honestly, I didn't look that far into it. I just know they're a creator also, and they got a book deal. And I think their content was mostly on, like, the Chinese dynasties or whatever. Like, Chinese history. I was looking for the word dynasty, but I don't know how to use it correctly. So, that's a really interesting topic. Because, honestly, I don't know about you, but for me, as a European in school, I never learned about Eastern culture. The furthest we went out was Russia. Turkey? Not really. Honestly, Russia, yeah. The other countries, we don't really learn anything about them, besides like Europe and a little bit of America, so I always like looking things up because I love history, and so I was like, fuck yeah, I love history, let's read this book. What is this book about? It's about... I don't know. I don't know what it's about. It's about feminism. Listen, I'm not laughing at feminism. The future is female, but like the way it was shoved down your throat in this book was just, it made me laugh. Like the whole time I was reading, I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm glad I'm enjoying myself, you know, these dire times, and I find joy in this book. Thank you. This book doesn't play in the past, it plays in the future. It's a futuristic book with historical elements. So it's in the future, but in the past at the same time. No, but it's like historical Chinese elements, which slays like the concept, and it's in the future because there's robots. Slay. Like the concept, slay. No? I think it's a slay. The bad guys are Handans, and that's like big robots that don't have a mind of their own, and they're just attacking the humans. And so the humans are like, we have to defend ourselves, and so they build robots of their own out of the dead Handans. So it makes me wonder, like, how was the first one built? Like how did they kill the first one and then just figure it out? And the good robots are the chrysalis. Makes me think of that one fruit. Anyway, they control these chrysalis by a woman and a man, yin and yang. Listen, the magic system, like, I didn't really get that. You will not hear about that from me. I didn't care enough to, like, I knew when I was reading it, I was not going to read the second book, so I was like, I'm not going to remember this. I don't care. Fire, metal, earth, I don't care. Wood? So, you sit in that robot, and then you control it, but it has to be a man and a woman, and the man is, like, sitting behind the woman, and they're in those robots, like, Avatar style. I mean, who hasn't watched Avatar by now? My boyfriend. Can you believe that? The one with the blue aliens, I actually was so obsessed with. It was a hyperfixation of mine at one point when I was like maybe 9 or 10. I begged my parents to buy me a costume, and it was a skin-tight suit, blue suit, and a wig, which I think now in retrospect is cultural appropriation. I'm sorry. Yeah, I rocked that. I wore that. And my friends made fun of me like the years after that. And I was like just enjoying myself. I just wanted to be an avatar. And I was. And I don't think there's any pictures of this, so you won't be seeing them. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is they sit in that robot, avatar style. They have like tiny needles going into their spine. And then their chi, which is their energy, flows into the robot. And that's how it's powered up. And it needs a woman and a man for balance. Why not 2 men? Why not 2 women? We don't know. Because we're sexist. And we hate gays. Pride month is over. These good machines are made of the bad machines, okay? So now you got the base of the word. You don't get any more world building than this, or any more context of where they came from, how they are built, because that's classified information, and so you don't get to know. It's classified information, and our main character, her name is Sitchin. Sitchin, I'm trying. Sitchin, am I doing a good job? So they're controlled by a man and a woman, and the man is the main controller, and he basically just uses the woman as a battery. And I thought that was very clear from the beginning, but Sitchin like realizes this in the end, and she's like, the women are just batteries. And like, yeah, like that, like we've been new, bitch. Like, okay, very shocked. And these women are called concubine pilots because they die. They die immediately after a battle. They are called into battle. They are put in that robot with the man, and then the man drains them of their energy, and then they die. And so concubine pilots are mistreated. Women in general are mistreated. This is in the future with historical elements, and this is like, women, fuck them, honestly. I wish, you know, in the past everything used to be better. Women just didn't speak up. Sitchin is like our feminist icon. This book's theme is feminism and fuck the patriarchy and fuck men. Kill all men, 2022. Or 2021 is when this was published, which I can't believe it was. Honestly, this book is so poorly written. You can tell that this was a creator. I don't know what kind of videos they did, okay? I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what they created. They created something, but I don't know what they created. Definitely not books before this. This is the first book they ever wrote. It reads like the first draft of this book, okay? It reads like there was no editor involved, which confuses me because this book was properly published by a publishing house with an editor. I don't know if this editor fell ill and they didn't put a replacement in, because this book was written as if there was no editor. He plugs faster. It really does hurt. Like, my brow is a living creature being frayed bit by bit into two. So if I tear up again, it shouldn't be suspicious. Only thanks to the gods in the sky. Why does she believe in gods anyway? Like, if she's a feminist icon and she's questioning everything anyway, it confused me that she like just completely just believed everything else. Like, she didn't believe in the patriarchy, but she believes in everything else. She didn't think further. She didn't have the rank Sophie. Only thanks to the gods in the sky was technology like these tablets reconstructed after humanity's lost age of cowering from the Hundans, which are the bad robots. I don't care how in-depth I am to the elders or the gods. I don't know who the elders are. Her grandparents? If they don't respect me, just because I'm the wrong half of the population, I'm not respecting them back. Pop off, queen. No, like, genuinely, what the fuck? What the fuck? And the thing is, you're reminded, like, every chapter that she's a feminist icon. Like, she thinks things like that every single chapter. And it's a little bit much. Because you, from the get-go, get that she is our feminist icon. As I said, I will call her that. I don't understand why I had to have sentences like that every single chapter. There is no need for them. Like, I get it, okay? Also, why she's so dramatic about her unibrow. She's getting them plugged because she wants to be a concubine pilot. Because this is the plot, okay? Her sister, her big sister, whose name is mentioned once in the beginning, she died because of one of the pilots. Because she was a concubine pilot and then she died. But she didn't die in battle. She was just like beat up or something. Or maybe she was assassinated. No, genuinely no idea. Also, Sitchin never tries to figure this out. She wants to avenge her sister, so she wants to become a concubine pilot herself, so she can be a concubine pilot for the male pilot that killed her sister to kill him. Okay, she wants to kill the dude that killed her sister, but we never learn how exactly her sister died. I don't know their relationship at all. I don't know how they grew up. I don't know who the fuck she is. I don't know who Sitchin is. She is a bitch, that's all I know. This whole book happens because Sitchin wants to avenge her sister. And I know nothing about the sister. I don't give a fuck about her. I'm glad she's dead. I said it. Because I don't know who the fuck she is. Why would I care? And Sitchin also doesn't really have anything going for her besides that she's like the feminist icon. That's also all she does. And she complains a lot. Her bestie babe is one of the sons of the richest man in the whole country or continent or whatever. I don't know the scale because the world building was really garbage. There was no world building done. Honestly, same. Like, if I wrote a book, I wouldn't do world building either, because, like, who the fuck cares about that? You only care about the characters and dialogue, but even that was poorly done. So what was there about this book that was good? Why did you give it 5 stars? Why did you give it 5 stars? For some reason, they need pretty eyebrows to be concubine pilots, to have a higher market value. Market value, sorry. I'm German. She needs pretty eyebrows to have a higher market value, and so her bestie plucks her eyebrows in the woods, but she's a virgin, which she reiterates like every single time. And honestly, I thought we were gonna get this fucking violent ass sex scene, but we didn't. I was waiting for that, but the author was a pussy. Throughout the whole book, she keeps mentioning, Sitchin keeps mentioning that she's a peasant. I'm a frontier peasant. My family is broke. She keeps mentioning it. And the thing is, things get mentioned too often. Nothing in this book is subtle, okay? Everything is in your face. Nothing is between the lines. Everything is on the page. That is good to a certain extent, because it means I don't have to think. But it also gets really boring and really repetitive. If she keeps thinking, she has like monologues on monologues of just like, I hate men and men hate women, but why? Why are we inferior? We are not inferior. Rise up. Calm down. You know what? One of the biggest issues I had with this book was, I don't know why Sitchin believes any of this. This world is deeply sexist. Everyone in this book is sexist. Besides like the 3 main characters, because you know, they're the main characters, they're different. She was never taught these ideals. She was only taught the sexist ideals. So where did her hate for the society and the system she lives in start? Why does she believe in it so fiercely? I have no clue. I have no clue. She just woke up one morning and she was like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck this. And she started fucking it. No, but there's like no build up to it. There's no explanation to it. She just believes it because she's different. And she is very different. She is a Mary Sue. I don't know why we still need Mary Sues in 2021. She's like walking home after meeting her rich bestie in the forest because, you know, he's a boy, she's a woman. Actually, they keep using boy and girl, so she's a girl, he's a boy. Skater boy? And she's not allowed to meet him because they could fuck, but she's a virgin. She's a virgin. I'm still a maiden. That's what she literally says to like grown-ass men because they care that much. No man cares that much, respectfully. Like, and if they do, run. Red flag. Actually, like, alarm. So she walks home and she randomly starts trauma dumping. She tells us that her feet were bound when she was a kid. Like her feet, like her toes were broken and then bound. So they are really small. Lotus feet is what they're called. And that still happens today. So this is like one of the historical elements, you know what I mean? Like she put in historical elements. Obviously, I'm not the expert on Chinese history, so I can't catch every single thing. But this is something that still happens. And so this main character is actually disabled. That's why I'm saying like this book had the elements. It had the essence. Everything was there. And you just had to do this. But instead you did this. And nothing happened. It just fell apart. That was amazing. That was an amazing metaphor. Slay. So her feet are bound and she can't walk properly. And they stink like rotten flesh because they are rotting. And they can actually get back to their normal form if they are not bound. But they are bound, so she has a higher market value because it's seen as something very delicate and lovely for men, and you can't show them your bare feet because they all have foot fetishes. Men are so weird. I get her now. Honestly, I'm hating on her, but like, fuck the men. Kill all men, as I said. So the day comes where she's being picked up to go be a concubine pilot like her sister to avenge her. And her bestie babe comes, her rich bestie, to her house, in front of her house. And he goes, "Don't leave, I'm rich." There's a line later down in the book where he's like, "You can't shoot me, I'm rich." There were lines in here that were like supposed to be comic relief. I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be comic relief. Maybe they were a bit seriously and I just didn't get it. But like, everything felt so forced. Everything in this book felt forced. The characters being sexist felt forced. The petty fights between Sitchin and the other female characters were forced. Lines were forced. It was terrible. It was truly terrible. This book... Sorry, I'm so sorry. So her bestie's like, "Marry me." I'm rich, marry me. Like, you don't have to go be a concubine pilot and die in battle, like your sister, rip. You can just come with me and marry me. And she's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You don't respect me. You don't fucking respect me. You don't respect my wishes. This is what all men do. Chill. No. But she kisses him. She kisses him anyway, and I don't. Honestly, the romance in this book was also really terrible because, like, nothing in this book was good. But there were two love interests, and both of them were ass. But like, Shizi is the rich one, and they have like a relationship 3 years prior that builds up to this point, and I don't get that. I don't ever get like flashbacks of them meeting in the forest throughout the 3 years, or fundamental moments, or them talking about feminism and how the society is sexist. Nothing. So I don't feel it, and I don't ship them. I don't get how. No, never mind. I have to stop insulting people. Tichen is anti-patriarchy. She's a feminist icon. Girls support girls. She wants to avenge her sister, but also she wants to join to kind of avenge all of the concubine pilots and get better treatment for them. She wants to better the situation, not just for herself and her dead sister, but also, I mean, she's dead. You can't really better her situation, you know what, rip? Well. But she wants to change the whole system for the concubine pilots because she thinks that women in general are mistreated. But every female character in this book is a bitch. She's a bitch, and every other character she meets is a bitch. She doesn't get along with any of them. All of them end up being bitches, like from the get-go, or later on, one like her bestie betrays her. Not really her bestie, but like the one character she got along with betrays her. So every female character besides the main character is portrayed as not a good character, and every other female character she fights with. So I don't really know how you can stand there and be like, girls support girls, I want to better the situation for the other concubines, and then you speak to her like this? Do you understand what I mean? It doesn't make sense. The dude that killed her sister comes, picks her to take her to the room with him, and he's like very considerate and sweet, and she's kind of confused because she's like, how can someone like him kill my sister? He's actually really sweet. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe something else happened. But no, he's pranking her. Prank! Because they almost fuck. And then he asks her for consent first, and she's like, no one that asks for consent can just kill someone. Which is like, okay, like kind of narrow-minded, but pop off, queen. The alarm goes off. There's an attack from the Hundans, the evil robots. And so they have to jump into the robot from the pilot, the good one. And they jump in, and she's like, no, I don't want to go. And he has to tie her up and like put tape over her mouth because she's resisting. And he's like, we have to fucking go, bitch. Like, they're attacking. We have to defend the city. And she's like, no, I don't want to go. They go into the thing, and this is the first time she's in the good robot, in the chrysalis or whatever the fuck is. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about this because it's like, I'm like so over it, okay? I'm really over it. I don't ever want to hear anything about this book ever again. Basically, they're in the mind realm she's in the mind realm of him, and she sees memories of his because their minds are connected because he's using her chi, okay? And so she sees memories of his, and she sees a young child screaming for help, and she approaches the child and she's like, wait, where the fuck am I? You are him. You are a grown man. This is like a memory. This is not real. I'm gonna kill you. She kills the child in the mind realm, then goes to a different mind realm because this one is destroyed because she killed the child. She actually meets this pilot face to face, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? How did you get out? And she's like, you bitch killed my sister. And he's like, okay. And then she stabs him to death in the mind realm, and he dies in real life too. And she's like controlling the robot now, and she's like, fuck, I can't do this. What am I doing? Anyway, she's controlling the robot. They win the fight. She comes out of the robot, has his dead body in her arms, drops him on the floor, and is like, this is your nightmare. By the way, everything in this world is like broadcasted. And so her dropping the dead body out of the machine was also broadcasted. Because this is a futuristic world with historical elements. I'll get to the vibe in a second because the vibe was not there. And I have to voice my opinion on this because it infuriated me so much. But basically, the leaders or the strategists I think they're called. They come pick her up, and they're like, "You killed one of our best pilots. We need to like figure out what we're gonna do with you if we're gonna kill you." And no one really speaks to her on the way to like the new place, but she keeps being like, "You know that I was the one who killed him, right? I fucking killed him. You know I did it, right? Hee hee. I fucking did it." Like, she can't keep her fucking mouth shut. They saw that it was you. They saw it. And she's like, "You know, I controlled the robot, right? I'm a woman and I did it." They don't give a fuck. They don't care. Like, you're doing too much. Anyway, the vibe of this book is non-existent. I'm telling you, I don't know what the vibe is, because this is like futuristic, but everyone's poor, and it's still historical. And then, but it's also like, the way they speak, the way it's written, they use words like bonkers. Bonkers? Out of every word you could use, you use the word bonkers. The phrase nipple eyes appears 3 times in this book. Nipple eyes. Nipple eyes. Yo, I don't know what's going on. They have all this tech, and then they're still like so behind mentally, and it's just like, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense with the language that's being used. But then they wear robes. No one ever wears pants. I don't understand what's going on, and I think it just kind of, it could have happened, like it could have been a thing, but it failed on the delivery. It was just not executed well, and so there is no vibe, because I could not get into the world and into the mind of the characters, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, I didn't know what to imagine, because there was no world building, there was no descriptions, there was nothing going on. And then they used nipple eyes and bonkers. Fucking bonkers. Huh? Anyway, back to the plot. She's now the Iron Widow, because an Iron Widow is a female pilot that kills her male counterpart. Because the male, I don't know what they're called, but whatever, the pilot dies, and so she's the Iron Widow because she's made of iron, and she's now a widow that killed the man. And they're like, "We don't know what to do with you. We're gonna send you into battle with our other best pilot," because that was like the best pilot, but there's another one, and he's a convicted murderer. His name is Lee Shimin, and he is convicted of murder. He's 19 years old though, and he is super powerful. He has a super high chi, and they're like, "Okay, you have to go and fight with him." I think they hope she dies, but I don't really know. And she doesn't want to do it. She's like, "I have to go into the robot with a murderer? Whatever, I'll kill him too." Like, that's gonna change anything, bestie. Really. I don't know, like, I don't know. I can't stop looking at Lee Shimin. He may be only half Rangdi, which there's like different ethnicities. I don't care. Sorry, I really didn't care. His face has more blah blah. He wears no pilot crown, because apparently they get crowns. Almost all of my fear is gone now, replaced with a giddy fervor. Fervor? What is a fervor? Passion? Anyway. I might as well enjoy this. He's as guarded as bound as I am. What can he do? So, I arch a brow. Killed your whole family, huh? He looks farther away from me, his leash rattling. Did they deserve it? I press. He finally meets my gaze. There's no guilt, no rage, no hesitation in his eyes. Only a resolve so clear it steals my breath away. He nods. My lips quiver. I don't know what to say except, I believe you. This bitch was shitting her pants a page before, meeting this convicted murderer that she now has to share a mind with. And he says, "Yeah, they deserve to be killed." And she's like, "I believe you. More strength to you, brother." Like, what the fuck? But can you tell, like, killed your whole family, huh? Like, what is that vibe supposed to be? Why does she speak like that? The same thing that happened with the first pilot now happens with Lee Shimin, with the mind realm thing, but they both survive in the end. And he's like about to leave the robot, and she's like, "Wait," and he turns around, he's like weirdly considerate, like he seems moved by the fact that she's alive, which she can't believe, because all pilots are evil and want their concubine pilots to die for some reason. Like, everyone hates women and want them, they all want them dead. Fuck women, they all like kill all women. He can't believe that he's like actually showing some kind of emotion, because he's a convicted murderer, and also he has a beard. He has a fucking like stubble. She can't believe it. He's evil. Ah! When I mentioned earlier that this book was very in your face and nothing was between the lines, this is an example of what I mean. There's one character, his name is Sima Yi. I have no idea what his position is. He's like a strategist or something, but he is kind of like I don't know how old he is what I'm trying to say. I know he's a strategist, but I don't know how much older he's supposed to be. He kind of is like a parental figure to Li Shimin and to Sitian, but he goes, "What disguise is wrong with you? Haven't you realized what you've done? You killed a human being. You ended a life. You took someone's son away from them." And it's supposed to be like, he's mad that she killed the pilot. And what he's saying could be applied to every concubine pilot because they always die and the men always survive. So it's supposed to be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very explicit. Also, this dude never gets better. He keeps being a sexist asshole, but he's just there the whole time. He's there to be sexist, you know, to remind you that this is a patriarchy and women should be dead. Also, something that's like really weird is there's around 300 something robots, active robots. All of them need a pilot, a male pilot. They always survive. But the concubine pilots never survive. And there's like very frequent attacks. It's said that it takes like 2 weeks for the chi to recharge, but they fight more frequently than that. And every time they need a girl. So there's 300 pilots and all of them need girls like very frequently. Why aren't all the women dead already? Like, it's never mentioned. And it makes me think like there's something logistically wrong. Like thousands of girls have to be dying. You know what I mean? Like weekly. Because they have frequent attacks is what I'm saying. So after this battle, it turns out that Li Shimin and Sitian are like almost equal to one another in power, and that they could be a true match, which means that they could fight together all the time and not her dying and having to be replaced, but they just get a robot and they fight in it all the time, which is like the ultimate goal of every female. Of course. They want me to live with this murderer, this convicted murderer who needs to be muzzled, collared, and held at gunpoint to be forced into cooperation with while sober. What in the skies will he be like once the alcohol kicks in? Basically, they have to live together now because they're a true match. And so they're basically boyfriend and girlfriend at this point, even if they don't fuck, they're considered that. And they live together in Li Shimin's cell. So he has an own apartment without windows. It's just like a cell, like a cement block. And they live together and she's like super scared because he drinks. But at this point, like, he's done nothing to be, like, nothing violent. And nothing to scare her. He even helped her out of the robot when they both survived. And he was like emotional about it. And she's like, this murderer, he's gonna punch me in the face in the middle of the night or something. He's not done anything at this point to even like remotely make her think that, besides the fact that he's a convicted murderer of his brothers and his father. But you know why? You know what they did, that he killed them. Because he did say they deserved it, and she was like, I believe it, so why are you scared? You know what I mean? Li Shimin does not have concubine privileges. Wherever the girls sacrificed to him come from, they were never his to enjoy. I am the first girl he's seen outside of a battle in 2 years. How does she know he doesn't fuck? How does she know that? How, bestie? Maybe he fucks hard. He's like a buff prisoner, you know what I mean? Like, women go crazy for that shit. See here, I read them so many times, I memorized them. If I pretend hard enough, I can read them all over again. Okay, so Li Shimin is absolutely fucking bonkers, I guess. Don't fucking talk like that. Of course, we were wrong about Li Shimin. He might be a convicted murderer, but he's also a scholar. He's like super smart, and his family is broke, and so he had to fight in like underground fighting rings to whatever, get money. He's like really smart and cute, and he wears glasses because he has like he can't see. He's like almost blind because he was studying so much that it scorched his eyes. And so yeah, but we love him. Also, he killed his family because they are worried a girl. So he had all the rights in the world to kill them. More power to Li Shimin, you know? And this is all told to Sitian in the first night, and still after this night, she's like very reluctant about trusting him and being like, oh my god, he's just pranking me. He's just like, he's just telling me this so I trust him. But like, he never does anything to her that would make her, or could like make her think otherwise. Like, never. He's always nice to her. So she's just a bitch. What's your deal? Huh? His voice shrinks. Cut the act, I slapped the mattress. Do you honestly expect me to believe you are some misunderstood, secretly sweet guy? We both know that's not true. I don't understand why you're suddenly angry, because they were talking normally before this. Because you're putting on an act, and I'd rather you not, I say, edging closer to a growl. I do not want to deal with you playing games to get what you want. You're a boy. So she's the sexist one. Now, let's not pretend you don't have needs. I don't want you going mad, so I'm willing to get them over with under a few conditions. Stop! I think you've been lied to about what male needs are like. They're talking about fucking. We aren't animals. Yes, our desires get pretty strong, but they're not overpowering. There's no such thing as going mad because of them. Tell that to all the girls getting R-worded as we speak. What the fuck did he do? He just told you that he killed his brothers because they R-worded a girl, and you're like yelling at him, and he cries. He starts fucking crying because he's like, what the fuck did I do? Everything from this point onward is like really boring, and honestly, like, I can't be bothered. I can't be fucking bothered, guys. You're making me read this. No, I'm kidding. I really enjoyed reading this, but only the beginning. They go to an event. It's like a benefit event. They're like sent to Hawaii or something. And the strategist dude tells Sitian that Lee Shimin actually had a match before her. So he does fuck. See? She didn't know. She didn't know he fucks. Of course he fucks. And that bitch died. Hi. Little cat break. Wanna say hi? Oh, she's camera shy. What are you doing, silly cat? What are you doing? Anyway, don't mind me. I'm eating a salad. I actually wanted to make fries, and then I like preheated the oven, and I go downstairs to get the fries, and I realized we don't have any. And then my dad was like, have this salad. And I was like, bitch. Anyway, her and Lee Shimin are now a true match, and they have to announce this to the world because the world only knows her as the pilot killing bitch. And so they're like, okay, you're gonna have to put on this act where you're like a couple and you have to present yourself in public, blah blah blah. I don't want to imagine the things they do to make me pay for taking their beloved golden boy's life. How will I possibly convince them to accept me? This pissed me off because I felt like she was so inconsistent in everything she did. Well, not everything she did, but everything she said was so like, I didn't get if she now liked Lee Shimin, or if she wanted to be a pilot herself, or if she just wanted to kill Lee Shimin and herself and rid the world of him so he couldn't kill more concubines or whatever. I didn't understand, because I was like, don't you wanna die anyway? Because at this point I'm pretty sure she still wants to kill Lee Shimin when they're in the robot again and like fighting mind to mind. She wants to rip his mind out and kill him like she did the other pilot, and now she's like, how will they ever accept me? Girl, I thought you wanted to end it all anyway. Why do you care? So, because this is YA, there's a fight in the cafeteria. And, I mean, that's not what I mean. In the cafeteria, one of the dudes there, who's also a pilot, there's like a bunch of high-class people and a bunch of pilots, and he tries hitting on Sutian, and then, of course, he tries to, like, touch her, and then Lee Shimin is sitting across from her, and he like takes him and starts beating him up, and there's a fight. Okay, there's a fight before this, and then during the fight this also happens, so a new fight starts, and everyone's like around Lee Shimin because he's a murderer and like he beats someone up, and then everyone's like, oh my god, we're so scared, and this is YA, so she has to be defended by a man because she's a feminist icon, but she's dependent on the two main male characters that there are. Because she can't do anything herself. She's super weak. And she's like, oh, I'm so weak. Can I really call myself a Mrs. Slay, Mrs. Surf if I have to be saved by two boys the whole time? No, you can't. You can't. There you go. I have the answer for you. So then, later that night, they take Lee Shimin into a solitary confinement. So he's locked away for a night. So she's alone in the bunker. Somehow, the dead pilot's friends, the friends of the pilot she killed, come to the bunker because they just can, and start beating her up. And then her rich friend comes, Chizzy, and I don't know how he gets there, but he's just there. Right moment, right time, conveniently, and he saves her. I don't know. I think everyone should subscribe to me so I don't have to record on my phone anymore and I can buy a camera. Please. He draws me into his arms and murmurs into my hair. You're my polar star. I go wherever you guide me. Shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, you can tell that this author was trying to come up with a quote that people would use, like, for their ship. Because every ship has, like, a quote. And she came up with Polar Star. This is the Polar Express, or where are we going? So, she definitely does, you know, she's a strong female, but she does need all the men in the world to do her biting. And also, I don't really understand how she found, like, she got together with the 2 men in the whole world that are not sexist. Like, what are the odds? I release a sigh that seems to go on for 1,000 years. Why are we using sigh lines in 2022? We're over that. See, it's not 2014 anymore. Wake up. Sometimes I've wondered if Shizi's attractions extend beyond girls. We never dared stray onto topics like this during our forestalizations for fear of admitting the tension between us, but I've wondered because of the way he would talk about certain male celebrities. Things like this are a common topic of gossip back in my villages, but honestly, I've been transfixed by pictures of women myself. The notion that men and women must be with only each other tires me as much as the pilot system. So, okay, so she just assumes he's gay. Okay, probably because he has long hair, right? No, but honestly, like, why does she think this way if no one else thinks this way? I don't understand. Like, she even says in her village, this is gossip. Like, people make fun of people that are gay. Why don't you? Because they're gay. Okay. Shizi basically convinces everyone that he should stay with Li Shimin and Sitian because he can help Li Shimin sober up because he's addicted to alcohol. And so he's like, if you are addicted to alcohol, you can't control the robots as well. For some reason, your chi doesn't flow as well. So you should detox, and I can help you with that because I used to study medicine. And everyone's like, okay. So he does. Obviously, he only does this because he wants to be close to Sitian without being suspicious. And Slay. They almost fuck, her and Shizi, but they don't because he has tattoos. And then she's like, why do you have tattoos? And he's like, oh, because I'm my father's son. And she's like, is that good or bad? And he's like, whatever you decide it is. And I still don't know what they mean, but he's tatted up. Then Li Shimin almost fucking dies because of his alcohol detox. I don't know why, like, it wasn't really explained. He just starts convulsing and almost dying. Slay. I sit near the other side of the bed, pressing down on Li Shimin's quivering arm. The tremors are so bad that the army doctors have left us for now, saying that they can't do acupuncture until the lab medicine injected into his bloodstream calms his nerves. Medicine like that makes me nervous. It's not natural to mess with your chi flow that drastically. She's anti-vax. Yeah, I just realized I don't really want to talk about this anymore, so I'm just skipping ahead. Basically, she's talking to, what's his name? Sima Yi, which is like the mentor dude, and he's like the one that like has all the sexist dialogue. Hey, I need to talk to you. About what? You'd better not be tangled up in a love triangle. Random as fuck. I've seen the way you and Rich Boy look at each other, but you'd better not be doing anything out of line with him. Shimin is the one who's supposed to be your partner, your one true match. Remember that. And especially stick to it in public. Popular opinion in the army is already against you. You cannot afford to be labeled a cheater as well. They're OTP. Do one true pairing, one true match? Do people still use that? Because that's what it reminded me of. They're an OTP. Like the public is like, OTP. There's a song about OTPs too. Listen, I'm old, okay? I know that shit. So they have an argument, her and this mentor dude, where she's like, I'm literally a virgin, like I haven't fucked anyone. And I hate Shimin, like I don't want to fuck him. And he hears this. And then they're on their way to battle like 5 minutes later. And she gets shot randomly. This, by the way, this whole story happens in the span of like 2 weeks, okay? So like, what the fuck? She gets shot and then they're on their way into the robot and then they kiss, her and Shimin. Even though she just said, I hate him and I don't want to fuck him. You do you, girl. Honestly, like, whatever. I'm just going with it at this point. Attention fixed on the headless warrior's distinct shape. Its glowing nipple eyes and belly mouth. That's why I think she didn't have an editor. Because, like, what editor was like, yeah, use the phrase nipple eyes 3 different times? No editor would say do that. I wouldn't say do that. Because that's, like, it's not funny. It's just ridiculous. Nipple eyes? That takes you out of the story. Not into the story. They go into battle together. They slay together. Then Shizi comes and he gives them his chi. Also, so there's now 3 chis instead of just 2. And 2 being compatible is already rare, which is why the woman dies all the time. but they're compatible, so it's super rare. And then a third person enters their chi, and it's like even rarer, but it works for them. We barely have to do any rebranding for you. You're the baddest of bad boys, the ultimate alpha male. You live by your own rules, not giving a fuck about what other people think, and that's exactly what makes you so alluring. Men want to be you, women want to be protected by you. Shimon says, okay, is this a Riverdale? Because the writing is so bad? Like, what the fuck? They're trying to come up with like a public concept for them to present to the public when they're doing photo shoots and stuff. What is this vibe? You know? What is this? Why does this man talk like grown-ass man? Now it's time for a dessert for the bussy. Anyway, they have this media meeting, okay? And so that's Shimon's role. And then it's like, they're like, okay, let's toast to that. And then Sitian is like, let's not toast to that. You're not supposed to drink alcohol because you're on a detox. And this really upsets the media dude, which, by the way, the media dude is Shizi's dad, but that doesn't really matter. Like, we don't really care. And then he's like, okay, everyone leave the room. I have to talk to Sitian by myself. All boys want it. I see the way they rush to your whims. If you truly have no intent to put out, then they must not realize they're being deceived. See, Planet Wu, business is based on equivalent exchange, on giving out a proper amount whenever you take something. It's a very important principle. I need to know you understand it and don't think you're too clever to abide by it. So, to make sure we can trust each other, I would like you to strip off your clothes and read our contract on camera, in the nude. Now, what the fuck is going on and why is it happening? I have no idea, y'all. I have no idea. She upset this dude, and to have a power play, he makes her get naked and then records her. She does it, by the way. She absolutely does it. She's like, fuck yeah, whatever, my body, my choice. And I'm like, yeah, girl, go pop off. Anyway, the only things that we find out now is like towards the end. Honestly, the last 100 pages, I was really not giving a fuck anymore. I mean, I didn't give a fuck the whole book, if I'm being honest. Sitian finds out that Li Shimon was forced into an addiction to alcohol. He wasn't addicted, he just like didn't get addicted the normal way. He was forced to drink alcohol by the strategist. I don't know why he was forced to do this, but he was forced to do it, and now he's addicted. Yeah. That's so sad. Then they get crowned. What does being crowned mean? Well, because they're an OTP, they are now officially an OTP, so it's like streamed to the public and they get a crown. Honestly, this whole book is so fucking boring because nothing really happens. It's just events, like a series of events, like happening, you know what I mean? Like every chapter is a new event. You don't really get anything in between or any context for anything at all. And so at this point, she talks to Li Shimon and they're like about to fuck, because that's like the highlight of the crowning ceremony, is that they fuck, not in front of people, which, you know, I think they would do, but just in private. And then Li Shimon is like, well, but you're with Shizi, like I don't want to disrespect him, like what the fuck? And then she's like, oh, don't worry, Shizi doesn't mind. They're poly. They are in a three-way relationship now. Listen, everyone can do whatever they want, but this was so poorly written. I have no idea why she likes Li Shimon. Like, I get it. I know why we're supposed to root for them, but like, I don't, you know, and I don't care for Shizi either. And then at the end, Shizi and Li Shimon also make out. They're like making out, and Sitian is like watching from the side, and then they finish making out and they're like, that's how I imagine it in my head. But I'm just saying, I didn't really feel the relationship between any of these three pairings. And also, it's because we didn't get any context in between, because she's like, oh yeah, I talked to Shizi about it. He's fine with it. But I didn't talk to him about it. I didn't see you talk to him. I'm just gonna take your word for it or what? It's just a change of seat, yet everything feels different. For a moment, I feel distantly male, or what it's supposed to mean to be male. But it doesn't matter. Male, female, doesn't matter when piloting. How do you know what it's supposed to feel like to be male? And what does it matter if it doesn't matter anyway? They're in the final battle right now, okay? And basically, Li Shimon fucking dies. Easy and Sitian were also in the robot, and he shoots them out and he goes on a suicide mission. And then Sitian finds the old emperor that was mentioned before. Listen, I really didn't give a fuck about this. She finds the old emperor. He actually was alive like 200 years ago. He's a legend, okay? he had a legendary dragon robot, and he got like the Rona or something, I don't know, and then he got himself frozen to be resurrected later on to be cured. So he was hoping people would find a cure and then resurrect him so he could rule again because he was emperor. So Sitian finds him in his dragon robot, and she's like, we don't have time for this. Like, semi heals him and then tells him, go sit in the woman's seat, I'm gonna sit in the man's seat and navigate the dragon. And that's what she does. And she beats like everyone up. She kills her family and she kills like a bunch of other people, and then the book ends.
I lost my last clips, but I'm here to make up for it again, okay? Basically, in the dragon form, Sitian kills everyone, okay? Her family, everyone. Shizzy survives. Li Shimin is dead. That's the end toll. They destroyed the castle in the process that everyone was living in. I think it's called castle. I'm not sure. I'm too lazy to check, guys. I want to go to bed. It's literally still bright outside. I want to go to bed. But anyway, she kills everyone. She destroys the castle. And in the castle remains somehow, in the span of like a few minutes, Shizzy finds a disc with information on it. This is in the epilogue, by the way, 3 pages. And the epilogue for me does not count to the book. So this happens after the book is over, okay? In my opinion, because prologue and epilogue are separate from the book. Basically, Shizzy is like, everything's a lie. The Hundans, the evil robots, are the natives of this world, and we were just dropped on this world by the gods or whatever. Everything's a lie. I just found this out. And then she gets like an iMessage from the gods where they're like, if you want Li Shimin back, you keep your mouth shut. Like, you shut the fuck up, you don't tell anyone about what you found out, and you fix what you started. And then we're gonna leave you alone and give you Li Shimin back. And that's how the book ends. And she, like, screams. That's, like, the last sentence. I scream or something like that. Because they always scream at the end of the books. It's like a classic YA thing. I hated this book. I really didn't like it. I thought it was a good read because it was really funny to read. Because you know how books are, like, the different kinds of bad? They're either boring bad or funny bad. And this one was a funny bad. Like, I had fun reading this because it was so bad. I like wanted to see what stupid line was going to happen next. Anyway, if you like this video, you can follow me on my TikTok, on my Instagram if you want. I would greatly appreciate that. And if not, that's also fine. But I do want to buy a camera, as I mentioned, so maybe subscribe. Maybe. Don't feel pressured. Anyway, stay happy, stay healthy. I love you. Thank you for watching, and maybe I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.